It's Open House Thursday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Get in the building. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm okay, quite tired. I don't know, it's probably age. I love your top. I mean, your top is like what I would wear.
Really?
I love it. And
that's
I love
a compliment.
The trousers and your glasses are popping.
Thank you, Ike.
Influencing Mariah.
But the lashes are not allowing me to see, man. It's just bothering me. But it's okay.
Meanwhile, I want to say congratulations to the new commissioners. I'm quite excited. Toke Benson, Mrs. Toke Benson, and Idris Aregbe are in tourism.
Yes, and that's your industry.
Like his people are near house.
And my dear Benga Motosho as well, who I think is such an amiable gentleman.
Yes,
so congratulations to the new commissioners.
Yes.
I look forward to you doing a great job.
Yes, congratulations to all the commissioners. Pretty excited, especially for Mrs. Toke Benson Awoni and Idris Ashegbe. We know that those two guys are a perfect team for that tourism. And we're looking forward to an amazing tenure.
I'm looking forward to an amazing celebration.
Nima, how are you?
Congratulations to all the honorables and the commissioners and essays, but I miss Miss Aramide, essay on works. I wonder how the roads will be, because just this small break after elections that they have been on, you see that, things have not been going well. I have been communicating with her on the old Ojo Road and the alternatives and all the works there. So I wonder who we'll be talking to now and how we'll see works happening.
But who is the commissioner in Ogun State?
Anyway, let me come to Mariam. Mariam,
for their list.
Mariam, how are you doing? Since Nima doesn't have any gist for us.
Nima is just, I'm seeing the prayer of my return. And you just not let me finish.
Don't let her finish.
So I wanted to shout out to
talking about road.
Come on.
I've made sure that I remember that I was away and I'm back. Some kept in touch. YK, your friend, one Mr. Sotin, is his name. He reached out and he calls me. Richard, those who call, they reach out, they send messages. All the popping up messages.
And Richard used to disturb me too. The man called.
Oh, the guy in Germany. I think it was me that gave me your number.
You gave him my number.
Yeah, I gave him your number.
At some point, my husband had to take the call and say, Anima can't talk right now. And he was like, does she need to leave the country? I said, leave which country? No, he was sincerely concerned. I love the fact that,
Thank you.
It's a privilege anyway for
You're
people
really
to
loved and, well appreciated. Everybody, I get messages all the time on your behalf. Hope she's fine. I know you can't tell me much, but I hope she's fine. I'm like, yes. And then they scheduled me this week out of any day that Nima is on set. So I had to pull some strings. I'm like, what? So you mean I'm not going to have a day
of hailing Nima yourself? Have you have not heard that?
I love you. I'm happy that you're back. I miss you. Look at you. To have you, sis.
Okay, let's just listen to this banter about Nima again.
Yes.
All right. So
She was gone for like 6 months.
5 months.
not
5 months.
Yes, now.
5 months.
Now.
April.
March, Abi.
I was going off and on.
April, May, June, July, August, September, 6 months.
No.
Well, let's say 5
It was
months.
5 months actually. I counted.
Long like that.
What is the difference between 5 and 6?
One.
Anyways, let's go on a quick break.
Very minimal.
When we return, look at the front pages of the paper. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Start with The Nation. I heard them on the mic in my ears. The Nation. Employers reject NLC's plan to shut down economy. Cooperate with lawmakers, Sanwo-Olu tells 37 commissioners and advisors. U.S., China owe half of world's 23 trillion, 235 trillion naira debts. Food energy prices push inflation to highest level in 18 years. Battle rages over rector in Osun Poly. NIMC moved to Interior Ministry to speed up passport issuance. Tinubu, Abiodun, others felicitate Alake at 80. NEMA's alert, flood to pound 50 communities in 13 states. CNG buses on test run in Ogun. Gains of autonomy for buses by BC. Okay, which story are we starting with in The Nation?
Good news. NIMC, according to the Minister for Interior, has now been moved from the Ministry of Communications to the Ministry of Interior because, of course, it is a very important prerequisite to getting your passport to have your NIN number. And so, and the NIN, according to them, in this report, somebody said undisclosed, unconfirmed information that they had is that the NIN portal has been down for over a month. And so they're hoping that when this synergy, this collaboration happens, improved services will, or their services will improve and the NIN will continue to give the numbers as fast as possible. The Minister for Interior also said that about 60,000 of the 200,000 passports outstanding have been met and then issued out. And so we're hoping that, I am hoping that the requirement for NIN will speed up name corrections as well, because I have that problem. I have a correct data with the NIN, but the passports, they make mistakes, and you're required to travel to Abuja. But I know for NIN, mistakes are done within your state. Hopefully, this will improve some of these services that are bottlenecks for us anyway.
He's working. I like
Should I
that
take the
about him.
Nima?
Go ahead, Mikey.
You can take Nima. I'll take my...
Alake.
Yeah.
Alake. Okay. So the National Emergency Management Agency has said that 13 states and 50 communities, mostly in the north, are likely to witness heavy rainfall, and it may lead to heavy flooding. That's between September 13th and 17th. Today is 14th, right? So, you know, this week. So NEMA is saying that has given us a list of these states and communities within the states that are likely to be affected by this flooding. We have in Kebbi State, it started by Kano State, Sumaila, Kunchi likely to be affected. Kebbi State, so many communities in that, a few communities in that state will be affected. We also have Niger State, Kontagora, Meshego, and New Busa communities will be affected. Kwara State as well, Zamfara, Wakaranamud, and many other communities as well. Bauchi, communities there as well. And Taraba State too, but no state. The Adamawa State in Adamawa State as well, some of the communities will be affected. Yobe State, Gombe State. So these are, many of the states that will be affected and the communities. So alert is going out right now, to let these communities know. But, we always talk about this, where we say we get these annual, almost like clockwork warnings. But, what exactly do we do for the next one that is to come? How are we handling it differently? So we have either we have no loss of, life or property, because we remember last year the sort of pictures we saw, and I hope that we don't see that as well this time around. And we need to build on doing it better.
Let me take the major headlines. So private employers of labor have cautioned NLC, saying that the proposed strike will be counterproductive if it goes ahead, that they hope that NLC will be willing to negotiate, go back to the dialogue table with federal government. According to them, NLC must seek opportunities, better opportunities for its members to cushion the subsidy removal pain rather than going on a strike, or continue the dialogue with government. Other organizations, if you recall, President of the NLC, Joe Ajero, had called out workers on a 2-day warning strike and said that they will have a total shutdown of the economy in 2 weeks if the pump price is not reversed and subsidy, well, no, they didn't say subsidy should be returned, but pump price should be reversed to the original price. However, various organizations and various groups have also said that dialogue is a preferred means to negotiate with the government, that strikes are therefore preventable. They think that both governments and organizations should find a common ground. The Director General specifically of the Nigerian Employers Consultative Association, as Mr. Adewale Smart Oyerinde, said that the proposed strike will be counterproductive, adding that it will hurt more the employers and the employees more. So hope that they would stop down.
So I just wanted to take that the President and the Governor of Ogun State have felicitated with the Alake of Egbaland, who is 80 today, and they have rejoiced and said he's an exemplary leader. He was an exemplary military officer, and is still an exemplary royal father. All the Council of Chiefs and Sons of Daughters of Egbaland,
Including yourself?
Must
including
remind
myself,
you must
who my own grandmother actually drove, his descendant of, I watched the film recently. Yeah, it's out now.
It's on Prime or Netflix?
It will be.
I think it's Prime.
It will be on Prime.
No, I think it's Amazon. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It's showing in cinemas, I think, right now. So she drove him his.
Oh, was that him?
The Alake, not this him.
Alake.
His
uncle.
Alake. Yes.
Yeah.
So I always remember him as the monarch with one wife. I always remember that. Anytime I remember seeing him, I remember this is the monarch that has one wife, the wife of his youth, and they're still together till today, happy. And
I've actually met him.
congratulations to
He's
him.
quite a nice.
He's come on the show.
Takes
He's
this
been on the show.
No, the Alake.
Alake has been
Yes.
on the show.
Yes.
Alake has
on
been.
the show.
You were not around.
Alake
You
was
were not
on
even
the
in the country, but we enjoyed it.
Very, very regal. Very came in
All
and,
those, they were blowing the
Yes.
stuff. It was just...
let's move on.
On
Let's
the show?
move-
Yes, Obankio. I remember
the
them.
video. I was there to tell you.
Let us move on to the punch.
So which one? Happy birthday, Alake.
Alake, why can you?
Alake. That's what I
You
said.
say Alake?
No, I said Alake. Even if I said Alake, it's still the same, the correct pronunciation. Maybe not the correct intonation.
The punch. We have very few minutes left.
Is it not you? Is it not you?
ASU parents protest as more varsities hike their fees. Libya flood kills 6,000 victims buried in mass graves. One feared killed as flood wreaks havoc in Lagos estate. Naira weakens to 950 to the dollar. Forex scarcity worsens. Land grabbers' violence returned to Lagos leaves trail of blood and deaths. Manufacturers slash outputs. Job over forex crisis. Slain soldiers, over 6,000 family members get insurance claims. And FG predicts heavy rainfall, flooding in 48 towns. Okay, which story are we starting with?
Okay, let me quickly start with the picture story. The flood in Libya is so heart-wrenching.
Very,
to
very
see,
painful.
Very heartbreaking to see how the flood destroyed the entire town, and the death toll right now is over 6,000 according to the CNN. But good news is that the president, our president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has shown support, and he said he's ready to provide essential support to people hit with that devastating flood in Libya. Also, the ministry under Secretary for Unity Government in Tripoli, because there are two rival governments, saying that the mortuaries are overwhelmed, the hospitals are out of service, and there are bodies lying everywhere right now. This is also showing that a pandemic might follow the flood, and it's scary. I'm hoping that the world turn this time around to Libya as well as
I hope America is happy with itself.
with itself, yes.
Because they are the ones that destroyed that country.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's move on. Another story.
Yeah, they said one person was feared killed in a flood in the Gatehouse Gold Crescent Estate in Lagos State, and the residents have expressed fear that it's been happening, but this was on Tuesday. The rain that fell was like the worst one. It says it's always flooding here, and it's been like this since 2007. But there is a quarrel between the LSDPC and the Public Works Corporation. One is saying, no, it's not on our jurisdiction anymore, because the residents are saying, please come and do this. At the canals, the flood comes from the canals. When the canal comes into their estate, so they are quarreling about who is responsible for it.
Okay, let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing Punch. Miriam had a story.
Yes, the Naira has fallen again. They said fell further to the dollar on Wednesday. That was yesterday. Closed at 950 Naira to the dollar at the parallel market. And at the I&E Forex window, it closed at 758 Naira 12 kobo to the dollar. And that... the report said they spoke to different BDC operators, and all of them, they gave nearly the same figures. They started off the day, they said at 9:30, and by the end of the day, they were already selling at 9:50. So the Association of Bureau de Change Operators in Nigeria is asking that CBN should grant them a no objection approval for the BDCs to fully go digital on all their operational correspondence. And they believe that doing that would lead to a true market rate discovery, enhance the achievements of the federal government, harmonize foreign exchange rate policies, and promote effective monitoring of BDC's transaction for statutory and regulatory requirements. So we'll see.
In a related story, actually, so the manufacturers are also complaining very, very hard because, according to them, the scarcity of foreign exchange is hitting hard on their production capacity. According to the Deputy President of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce, who was speaking yesterday, Mr. Gabriel Idahosa, cited that the prevailing economic realities as a big factor that has forced manufacturers to scale down. They just can't find the money. Manufacturers can't find the exchange rate to bring in the raw materials to actually produce. And according to them, since the economy is organic, anything that affects one part affects the others. He also said that if the consumer is spending lower, it's hard for them to purchase. And if they cannot purchase, the manufacturers have no reason to buy more raw materials to produce more. Yeah. So it's a whole ripple effect. And this foreign exchange is really affecting many manufacturers, and it's causing a lot of problems as regards production. And the money, according to him, the payment from importation has reduced by 450 billion since 2023 Q1. Really interesting. Okay, another story in Punch. Should we move on to Vanguard? Forex scarcity sends Naira tumbling to 930. Took that story. $600 million trapped funds. Tinubu directs CBN to meet foreign airlines. Sanwo-Olu to cabinet members, no room for excuses. Ransom from kidnapping, fueling terrorism and banditry, says National Counterterrorism Center. Abidjan to Lagos Highway. ECOWAS moves to perfect design for project. MTN raises concerns over vandalism of site infrastructure in Southeast. Mile 2 of Apapa Expressway, excuse me, hold LASMA police, others accountable, says truck drivers. OAU students, management in shutdown, excuse me, over school fee hike. IGP declares killer of DPO Bako in Rivers wanted. Okay, which story are we taking?
Should I just go with the Papa Tinkan Island? So this morning,
I knew you would take it.
Of course I will. I've come back to Lagos.
I said, no, Nima will take this story. Let me leave it.
This morning I was in 35 minutes traffic because tanker drivers are on one way from Alakija inwards Free Niger. And those of us on the only service lane, because the way the Badagry Road is constructed, the service lane is the only lane we can be on from the communities along it. If you're on the middle lane, you're going straight to Cotonou or Okoko. There's no other alternative. And so you leave us helpless at the mercy of the tanker drivers. And that's one problem. I hope Lagos State seriously thinks through this time around. When you get to Mile 2, it is a lockdown inwards Apapa, all the way to Second Rainbow. Nobody is smiling. Tankers, containers, they're jam-packed on the road. So you see one way from Sele on the Apapa Expressway, as if anything can happen. This morning, it was a Navy helicopter rescue team blocking me in traffic. All sorts of things happening right there. And the report is detailed. From extortion of drivers, according to the report in the Vanguard, by officials of the task force in Lagos State, to the works happening. And we know that the rehabilitations are ongoing right now. People are saying it's a state of emergency. The last GM, this story says that they are being forced out of Apapa by police officers and other members of the task force, disturbing LASMA from controlling the traffic. And so it's a myriad of issues, too much hydra-headed problem that I hope that this time around, if the governor can even sit through the task force meeting and see. Okay.
If I wanted to take the IGP declaring the killer of the DPU Bako wanted. The gifts of David Okpara, popularly known as Tubaba, has been declared wanted by the Inspector General of Police as the prime suspect in the killing of the DPO. It's the DPO was coming from a raid of criminals, a hideout, when he was ambushed by this group, members of the Iceland cult group. and
It was the most
killed.
horrific, horrendous thing I'd seen. I saw it online. They had cut him to pieces.
Really?
Caught his privates, and they're talking to him, telling him that, say, you see it now. I mean, it was a horrible, horrible, and the barbaric is the word I was looking for.
And they put up the video.
Yeah, I saw the pictures. Horrible. And they were talking to, it was a terrible, and they were saying that see yourself now. And they were talking to him that see yourself after all the wahala. It was a cult group. They cut his feet, his hands. Yeah, it was a very barbaric situation, and I hope they catch these guys. And he was mentioning his name. They were talking, so they were not even hiding. They're not afraid. They're mentioning their names, talking to each other.
I was wondering why governor would place 100 million on.
They said that they've put his picture. This David Okpara. They've put his picture and they've said he's wanted for cultism and murder. You know, so hopefully.
Oh, it's very painful.
Yeah, so I have a story here. MTN, they were at the inaugural Anambra Investment Summit. They held in Oka, and the summit was titled Role of Corporate Governance in Building Sustainable Business. And while he was there, he said MTN raised an alarm concerning widespread vandalization of its sites, infrastructure, and national assets. It says that one of the things that they are grappling with is deliberate damage to fiber optic cables during construction activities. He says that they also confront issues related to signal boosters within the market area. And they're just, calling on, they said these vandalism affects the service that they're able to provide for customers. Customers, they need to, you want to make calls in times of emergencies. These are services that will be hampered because of this behavior, and they're asking with partnership with government so that they can ensure the safety of their sites. I took this story really, it's not just because about MTN, but just generally the Nigerian attitude is that when you do things like that, you really do affect yourself. You're hurting yourself. And as a community, we need to stand up and call each other out and keep each other accountable. And then government can also play its part.
So you remember there was a meeting yesterday with the Minister of Aviation, Festus Keyamo. Yes, it was an important all stakeholders meeting we had. So what was said was that according to the report, President Bola Tinubu has directed the central bank to create a quarterly reconciliatory meeting with foreign airlines to address the backlog of the $600 million, which has been trapped in our system for a while. We came also as an aircraft manufacturer, Airbus industry, on the sideline of the summit, said that was set to increase their domestic air traffic by 5%. So, it was just a conversation that was needed to have, because many of the airlines were having issues getting their money, repatriating their money back to their country. And the minister had a meeting with them yesterday. And for part of the meetings that was agreed at the UAE with the president was these thorny issues concerning repatriation will be resolved. And that was part of what was discussed at the meeting. So the key areas was the issue of infrastructure to be developed. He said that the global events further exposed the immense contribution and importance of air transport as a catalyst for economic growth and vital engine for global socio-economic growth, and that they hope to be achieving the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals with these pointers. Okay, moving on quickly now to the Nigerian Tribune. Any other story in Vanguard? None. Picture story here. What my years as ambassador taught me, says Awolowo Dosunmu. Proceeds of kidnapping used to finance terrorism, says Onsa. Nigeria ranks highest in airport charges in Africa. 13 states at risk of flood. Number one's 6,000 dead in Libya flood. NIN passport crisis. FG moves NIMC to Interior Ministry. Reps deny collecting 100 million naira palliatives and largesse. Okay, which story are we taking? Nobody has the major headline?
Had it.
Okay, which story?
Okay.
Terrorism, finance. It just, so we had the coordinator, National Counter-Terrorism Center, and the Office of the National Security Advisor, Rear Admiral Yaminu Musa has said that the proceeds that come from kidnapping is being used partly to finance terrorism. This was a workshop, they called it Anti-Kidnap Multi-Agency Fusion Cell Media and Communication Workshop, and just really to talk about how, how almost like the value chain of terrorism and, organized crime, and how they use the money that they get from ransom to further fuel and further, what's the word now? Spend on terrorism. It's just basically, you know what we always say about crime, and that's why the conversation, so that's why the conversation always about whether you should pay ransom or you should not pay ransom, because if you are paying ransom, you're sort of inadvertently fueling more terrorism. So these are some of the things that they are discussing and looking for non-kinetic ways or kinetic ways to address them.
Very briefly, the International Air Transport Organization, IATA, has condemned the federal government over what it's called excessive taxes charges. This is for the airports. It was speaking at the 7th Aviation Africa Summit when he said that the airport charges in Africa are in Nigeria are the highest in Africa. He says Abuja is like the highest, followed closely by Lagos Airport. He lamented the stagnant growth of the region.
All right, let me just read this. We can't take the stories, but we'll be having Adeyemo, U.S. Deputy Treasury Secretary, to visit Nigeria to bolster economic ties. So that's Wally Adeyemo. He's going to be coming in very soon. Konjo Wela, my first 30 months at WTO have been exciting and challenging. History as NUPRC pick 42 winners for its gas flare commercialization bid round. Okay, and we never even celebrate.
Let's get Konjo Wela.
Konjo Wela, right? We need to come and we'd love to have her.
Yeah.
We never celebrated this Coco Golf. Everybody, the whole world is celebrating Coco Golf, and we've not discussed the 19-year-old girl who won Saint Serena, the U.S. Open. But congratulations to her and
where is she from? Nigeria?
American.
No, she's American.
It was just big news all over social media and online.
She's young, she's black, and there's during the tournament, she stood up for herself, in a good way. So that's why.
Okay, that's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back to Thursday, Gistin, we'll find one gist to talk about. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So on the show today, we'll be lending our perspective on the issue that has been trending in the last couple of days, the borders around splitting of bills between couples. Should couples split finances, or should the man be responsible and bear it all? You can call us on 081-076-41679, 090-241-63440. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. This conversation kind of started first with, I think Kiki had started a conversation when she said that when she's going to be in the marriage, they have to split the bills. Man and wife especially have to split the bills. And then other people started having the conversation in different ways. So a couple had an online, an IG, where the husband was saying that he must pay the school fees.
Which couple?
And this couple, the school fees and the shelter. There are two things a man must. And the wife was saying that, well, the truth is that there are other bills that women actually do, and it would be unfair because men in some instances are not able to do shelter and fees at that moment. So it would be unfair to make it look as if you must pay shelter and school fees, because there's some men, every man has a different phase in his life where he's unable to do either. And does that make him less of a man? So these are conversations, and this has started a debate in different people, and I'd like to hear your views. You can call us on 081-076-416-479, 090-241-63440. You can also tweet to us. Nima, let me come with you.
You're here.
Okay, so the story started from Kiki's page, just as you said, and I didn't like the way she put it. So we have the general, and then we have the exceptions. But when you make the exception, the general saying, a woman should be ashamed that, she's in the house and she's not paying rent. She should pay part of the rent. And then the reason she put behind it being that, okay, so that when you can never hear the statement, get out of my house. So the reality in marriage is that women carry some bills. Whether they loud it, whether they silence it, they carry bills. But that bill does not guarantee that when you fight, you will not hear word. That's you can ask any married person who has to share space, time, resources with another person totally different from who they were raised. So even if you had your siblings living with you, you will have these exchanges. And nothing guarantees that you will not have those fights. That you pay the bills, that you carry everything on your head does not guarantee that. Self-respect and reciprocated respect is what you can use to battle it. You don't buy your way out of it. You either love somebody and put up with them, or you don't. So the excuse of rent paying is not, let's not change because of that, as if that will guarantee anything. And,
exactly.
you will, if you get to divorce, you will still split properties that you co-owned. You will still sit through some tough conversations, and nothing guarantees anything.
What does it look like? Let me come to you, Mariam, for a second. A man's ego needs to be told that I paid for the school fees and shelter. I handled it. It is nobody can tell me that they sent my children to school. Why does that seem to be important to some men?
Well, because the way men are raised. A man, from when he's a child, I mean, I remember my son turned 10. He had a conversation with his father where I heard the father saying to him, "You are now the man of the house. You are a protector. You are supposed to, when I'm not there, so a boy is already raised to know that there are responsibilities that he must carry. You're the one that makes sure that you provide shelter for your family, food, whatever it is that your family needs. You are the sole provider. And then as you grow older, when things, life happens, circumstances play a role as well, we're adult enough to understand that we can make some adjustments. But many men, at least men in our own generation, I don't know how younger boys are being raised now, we're teaching them to be a man and take responsibility for your family. And whether we like it or not, that is what gives a man a sense of purpose. When a man, because of the way they were raised, if they are unable to do that, no matter what it is that they have, even if they have the brilliant wife in the world, the best kids in the world, if they feel that they are not contributing to the well-being of that house, to the growth of that house, in paying for bills, in providing shelter, in paying for fees, they never just feel fulfilled. I've also heard of conversations where you hear that men who are with women that are able to provide everything, and the man does not need to provide anything, still finds a side woman that is able to do all these things for.
Yes.
Because in that relationship, he feels needed.
Yes.
Like, hey, now I'm a man. What do you want? Let me take care of it. That's what a man wants.
But Mariam,
let me
pause you for a second, because we're in 2023. Life happens. Women are being economically empowered. Should men begin to face the reality that what makes you macho, what builds your ego, we need to review it as the years are going on, because your women are equally capable to pay school fees, equally capable to pay rent, equally capable to pay all the bills, to do the heavy lifting. Because some men feel as if, we just food, you handle food, these are the smaller things. We are the heavy, but the truth is that that's the major.
Go back and do the maths.
Exactly. So men have the assumption that because you pay for food, you do cable, you do all the school uniform, those are little things. But because they do the heavy lifting, that makes it, but that's not totally true.
That's a different conversation as well. This is a different one, because now we're talking about the 50-50 bill and what it means. Is it really 50-50? Yes, you are able to put in one go rent, and you're able to put in one go school fees. But
one time.
Please go and get me, we've run out of tomatoes, pepper, blah, blah, blah. You did it on Monday, do it on Wednesday. And then you're going down the road, the fuel is finished, you're in the car anyway, you add a bit.
So is he really the provider?
No.
So yes, is he really the provider? So that thing that makes you a man, I am the provider, uncle, is no more, because you provided house and school fees, but there are other things that are equally important. Yeah. So we are both doing 50-50.
The relationship.
YK, I want you to jump in.
Me? The only thing I need to say here is that in my next life, I want to be a woman.
Yes.
Because the responsibility of men, I think, is a bit much for them. So please bring me as a woman. God, don't bring me as a man. I don't want to, because in this our society and many societies, men are the heavy lifters, are supposed to be even all those, you buy petrol, it's really the man supposed to take allowance upon, he's paying the rent, upon he's doing this, he's still supposed to say, take this allowance. And when he's not doing that, he's not known as the man. And I think a lot of men now, in today's world, feel sidelined or underrated by their women because the women they are bankers, they are lawyers, they are this, they are that, and they are, you know, they're earning as much, if not more, than the man. So,
okay, I don't think you guys are understanding what I'm saying. Let me rephrase.
I guess where you're going.
The point, I want you to understand me. The point I'm trying to make is that what makes you a man, how our men were raised, right?
It's your provision.
How we provide those things. What I am saying is that because women are equally doing the same thing, so in many homes, men may be doing some heavy lifting. You do that big 10 million, 5 million. But if you add all the sponsor tomato, pepper, this, that, the women, because women they've split it. So you are now making it look as if man must do everything. But the truth is that, I mean, I'm just saying that the conversation will look as if men should handle it. But what women are doing are equally substantial. So it's equally substantial.
School fees, to make that example. So let's assume school fees is 200K.
Yes.
And then you need to buy singlets, boxers, socks, school bags, and somebody else says, okay, because you've done this, let me just do that. You now assume, oh, you took the lesser bill. When you do the addition, the person would have spent 250 compared to your 200.
Exactly.
So your question was, does the provision of just school fees make you the man?
God bless you.
Is that not it? And that's what I wanted to say, that the relationship is not one of superiority or the other.
Yes.
It is either you want to love or you don't want to love. Because in love, you must take small, see finish. That's the truth. So I wanted to link it back to the, if I pay rent, you dare not say certain things to me. There's nothing written. Nothing guaranteed. Okay, if the person now says it to you, even though you pay rent. I know someone, my auntie, my late uncle's wife, she did everything in that marriage. But we never knew. Because there's no latest car. My uncle did not drive to our house. So I just used to assume this guy was well-to-do until he passed. And then she carried everything and carried on. The kids are well-to-do now than in the US. She just carried on. I was like, I was now hearing the filters that she provided everything. And he was a happy old husband, that kind of thing, because when she puts to bed, he stays and nurses her through. No, he died because he got a job. He died because he tried to be a man. He got a job and it was.
Let me go on a break. When we come back, we continue this conversation. We get some viewers' perspective. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. You know, we need to answer this question of what exactly is 50-50 in the home? Because when we were growing up, we were made to think our fathers did everything. Gradually, you know, as we grew up, we now realized how much of support our mothers were. And even today, a lot of women are doing so much. And many of them feel like their men are not doing enough. Or some men don't even have any jobs at all. But my own worry is that should a man be judged because of his inability at this time, because he can't pay school fees, he can't pay rent, suddenly he's not a man? That's where I have a problem with, because I remember I always said it before that one thing I learned from Mrs. Ibukwari Wushika many years ago, when I was still early in my marriage, and I started Your View, I went for a speaking engagement. She said, listen, it's not the resources that makes a man a man. It's the fact that he was ordained by God to be the head of the house. So his ability or inability to provide does not make him less of a man. The leadership God has given to him is his role. So respect him even though he's not there yet. So that helped me. That helped me in my early days, because he helped me to understand. Listen, yes, my husband might not be here, but he's on a journey and to where he's going to be.
Okay, because that's a peculiar one. That's your example is peculiar. But God in his wisdom said man is the provider. Reason is because if you put all that power in a person without putting what's it called, corresponding duty, the abuse can be huge. Imagine that I just wield the power to tell you, cook for me, clean for me, birth for me, nurture for me, this for me, that for me, and provide the resources on your own, of course I will abuse that power at some point. I don't know the need to take care, to help, and you see it, because we are not the same. We are not built the same. If you have the power to compel somebody to do things that will just make your life easy without doing anything, imagine how it will be.
What if you do it in love, though? So yeah, you're right.
You will do it in love and die young, because you will get overwhelmed. We are all married.
Yeah.
This is 14 years for me. We know the weight, these things bring, what the things we do for love. Sometimes you just want to be pampered, and it's okay to have your escape once in a while. So imagine that it was your entire duty to birth, provide, shelter,
clean,
everything. And the other person is a man just because he's a man.
Let me take this call. I'll come to you, Miriam. Joseph, thanks for calling. You're live.
Yeah, thank you. Hello, ladies. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Joseph from Maiduguri.
Nairobi.
You're calling from Nairobi? No, Maiduguri.
No, Maiduguri.
Go ahead, please.
First of all, I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. So how are you people? Well, I don't have much time. Let me go straight to my point.
Yes.
About family issue, as in whether the finances should be splitted or joined, I think the main issue there is, in a family, if you have love, you have trust, you have selflessness, whether the finance is joined or single, that will be no problem. But if you join your account and these three things that I mentioned is not there, there will be no, as in the point is not going to be, I don't know if as in there will be no point joining the account. So, but if you split and you still have the love, the trust, the selflessness, as in being for the family, not for yourself, not for your relatives, and other things like that.
Thank you very much, Joseph. Go ahead, Miriam.
So for me, I feel that this 50-50 conversation is not a very healthy one in a marriage. It does not make sense, because whether we like it or not, you cannot exactly quantify. There's some bills that are unquantifiable. There's some bills that you cannot put money. There's some services or things that you do in your house that you cannot put a monetary value on. And because of that, as our last caller said, a lot is dependent on the respect and the love that you have for each other, and the fact that you look at each other or whatever it is that you're doing for the home as a team, as this is something we're doing together. So when the man, for example, brings in the rent, he does not see it like I've played 50% of my own role, or I've paid 50% of the role I'm supposed to do. But he's doing it, and this is what I'm doing towards our house. Knowing that there are things that you also do as the wife, and he appreciates you for it. He also understands that even though I'm able to pay for fees, there are little things that you do and makes the amount of money I've paid for fees worthwhile. Because what if I paid for the fees and my child is going to school with socks that are torn because I didn't really pay attention to getting new socks, or the bags are not really have holes in them because I didn't really pay attention to getting new bags. So, or I pay for the rent, but the house is looking clean, the decoration is looking nice, our house is a nice home because you're there. We can't really quantify everything that everybody brings. So for me, that conversation is not really healthy. Just know that this is our home and we're going to work together to make this work. And then if you have a situation where the woman earns more, it's not a time, it's also not the time for 50-50 or 80-20 or let me see what I can,
let a new chapter. Yes, I want us to come to that in a minute. Woman earning more is an important chapter. But let me take this call. Hassan. Good morning, Hassan. Thanks for calling. You're live.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
I've been laughing since, and my laughter is about you. Because let me tell you what is very clear. Yeah. You see, you made one point that a man would say, get out of my house. So you should join in paying the rent. It's a way of trying to clip the wings of women. That's not the issue. And secondly, you see this issue of Awoshika. Awoshika is talking about our own experience. She's expressing herself. I disagree with her in many instances. Stop using her as your own point. Leave her alone. A lot of people disagree with her. And secondly, you see, what is we have a lot of good housewives. A lot of good housewives. Marriage is about sacrifice. It's not about I'm putting this, I'm putting that here. No. It's about when a woman earns your respect, you can go to any length and provide for her. This issue of educated women thinking that men ego is because they are putting something on the table. It's not a good perception of women. We are ordained by God to do it. Any man that fails to provide sees himself as a failure. That is the reality of it. You understand? We see ourselves as a failure.
Thank you very much, Hassan. I hear you, Hassan, but there's a part of this, and I'd like to even reference the couple that we're discussing about. One of the things that the man had said was that if I as a man cannot afford a certain school, I'm not going to take my child to that school. Now, as much as I get that, but when we put the child first, like what kind of quality of education am I looking for my child? And because my wife earns more than me, and I don't want her to feel like she's in charge, I would rather take my child to a school that I know I can afford, but my wife has the ability to pay for a better school. But because of this same ego, I would not allow my wife to pay for that school. So my issue therefore going to both Hassan is saying that what is more important? Is it the ego or the child who needs a better school? Because a man says, I can only afford this school. And because I am the man, I must provide this school. But you as a woman say, no, I prefer this school because I think it's better. So who do you now?
I will use myself as an example. When my daughter was about to go to university, she had set her heart on going to a university abroad. And her father said, look, I can't afford this school. She will go to, he named one university in Otta. And I said, and my daughter was like, no, I don't want to go to that university. And I said, don't worry, we'll send you to England. So I went to meet him, and he said, no, that he can't afford it. If I'm going to send her abroad, I will take the responsibility by myself. I said, okay. Because I wanted what she wanted. And she has really set her heart.
But both of you are not married, YK.
Yeah, so
you are divorced at the time.
But he was still the provider. He was still the one looking after
his child.
Yeah, financially.
Kind of, yeah,
he had the finance
looking after his child.
So, like, I would say that he was a very considerate person. What we see is that he cannot provide, you can, but he's saying you dare not.
Exactly. There are men like that.
He's standing his ground and saying, as the provider, this is the future, the way I want it for my child. Nothing else will change it. Even though you can afford it, even though this is for her best interest, I don't want you to pay.
So what is important, the ego or the child?
So that's why for me, this thing...
But I paid.
Yeah, you...
And he refunded me some of it later.
Good.
Okay.
So that's why I was...
So he's a very considerate person. He's not the regular...
So that's where I was headed, which is that specifically putting a figure or picking a thing, it would not work.
Yeah.
Times, circumstances, things, life will happen to you. What is important is, as I said before, the same view. This is what we're working towards. This story about you want your child to go to a certain school is a conversation that is happening in many homes. I mean, I was saying to my husband that I'm surprised to see that when my son was going to secondary school, it brought a bit of tension in our home. And I found that it wasn't just my home, a lot of people, because now you're about to make like a life decision for your child. So it is the sort of thing I would like for my child, and then the sort of thing that we can afford, the sort of thing that, and we have to sit down and put that on the table. Yeah. And many times what you want versus what you have may not quite gel. But what works is that I am married to my husband, my friend, my teammate. And the person of importance is this our child, So we're going to sit down and put our heads together. How can we make this work? And then what are the options? You walk through the different options. What can we work that works with what we have today vis-a-vis what we want for the child?
But that's for a reasonable husband.
Yes,
but some men are not like that. A lot of men will say, I don't care what you want to. And there's no time for conversation. This is good. This child is going here, and there's nothing you can do about it because I am the father, I am the man. That's where some women are stuck on. So they are frustrated that their child have to go to certain schools just because their father is insisting.
I've seen 3 different examples of those.
Nima, let me pause you for a second. I'm sorry. I want you to answer this problem. I need to take Olariwaju from UK. Good morning, Olariwaju.
Good morning.
You're live. Thanks for calling.
Everyone over there, good morning. Morayo. Nima, you're welcome back.
Thank you.
And Miriam and my sister here, me there, my age mate. Yeah, I'm much as well. Yeah, and I'm 62 already as well, like you. Yeah, number one thing that I want to ask before I contribute to what you are saying. The UAE exemption, the visa lifted for Nigeria. Are you listening to me?
Yes, we are.
Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Yeah, that UAE visa, when the UAE banned Nigeria, the Nigeria banned them as well not to come to Nigeria. That's number one question. Because they can ban us not to come. And then they say the lifting visa for us is like they are doing us a favor. So we should be ban them as well. That moment, that year, I want to know if we ban them or not. That's number one. Then number two, concerning the couple doing things together at home. Here in UK, mostly the couple, they split the bill because the bill is heavy. Okay? We got council tax, we got feeding, no school fees, but in the school, the children eat in the school anyway. But if we get less money coming into the family, the school will feed them. Or if both of you have enough money, you pay for the meal, the transportation is free. What I'm trying to say is that whatever you're doing as a family, if the wife is doing more than the man, don't let it appear to the children that, oh, it's the mother that is doing more.
Okay, get your point. Nima, let me let you come back.
Okay, so I have 3 examples of this. For instance, some women don't work, they're housewives, but they have the standard of life that they want, whether it's within the means of the man or not. In such a situation, leave the person that is providing to decide. Some women are working. They can afford to partner, but the other party is saying, okay, we are joining resources, let's do this way. And the other case is a woman who is very buoyant, she can afford things, and she just wants to do things. So I am in my marriage, and I've sometimes just done it to my husband. So which is why I say you have to be very considerate. There was a time my daughter wanted to go for camp, and the father said, no camp. He was against sleepovers, boardings, anything that takes her out of the house. And I sent her to the camp for 2 weeks because I asked him, is it about the money? He said, I will not pay for it. I said, okay, I'll pay for it. And I went to pay for it without really discussing how the matter felt. And then when he decided to do the same to me, I started crying. So it's not always about money. Sometimes, when it comes to a tie, that power of the head, you don't see it play out. He then decides, this is how this family would run. Because you have sort of, overstepped certain boundaries too. If you were also the head, wouldn't you do the same? If I could have taken her to camp in 2 weeks because money was the issue, why do I then blame the provider for deciding, okay, this is how I want to do my own thing?
Well, Nima, I'd like us to touch on what this last caller said, and I think it's an important part of this conversation. If a woman is doing so much, she shouldn't let the world. Does that still hold water today? Where the woman is the sole provider of the house. She's supposed to do it in secrecy. Our mothers did that. We had women, we know, you never know that the mother handles certain things. But can that still happen? Because women today are truly more empowered than a lot of their husbands. So are we saying that should still hold water to an empowered woman who the child can visibly see that mommy goes to work, comes back, daddy is not going to work, he's not doing anything, and they see it and it's clear, but she must also still come down and pretend like it's daddy. Is that still needed today's world?
For me, Mura, your marriage is teamwork. I don't think if it's the man providing or if it's the woman providing, the children have to know who is who. It is just, they see that...
Provision.
Yes. It's not their business who is paying. And once you start to lord it over your husband or your husband starts to lord it over you, it's no more a team. One is the organ, one is the subordinate. And once that is, for me, that's a breakdown of the relationship.
And that's how it happens in my home. Actually, my husband detests, that's the word I'm going to use, every time I say to him, Daddy did this. He'll be like, why? Why would you say that? we did it, and that's all they need to know. Between you and I, we know how it worked, but for them, that's all that they need to know. And you know, for me, I thought, no, so that they would, you know, you're hardly ever around, appreciate you more and things like that. But you see, the thing about consideration, which is something they work for now, then tomorrow when the tables are flipped, would you like it? So it's important that whatever it is that we're doing today, let's look at a big, you know, let's look at it holistically, like how would we want for it to be sustained going forward? I don't understand this conversation of saying a woman should hide it in the sense that how else, even when a man is doing it, how do we carry it? Do we wear it on our heads and say, oh, this is what our husbands are doing? No, we just live our lives. You come into my home and you say, nice house. You meet my children, you are like, oh,
nice
lovely children.
It's me that did it.
Exactly. We don't go, it's me that did it, you know. Oh, I like your car, nice car. We don't say, it's 50-50, my husband paid 50 on it, my wife. You know, we don't do that anyway. So to ask a woman to be extra secret about and careful about it. Just be you. The way your husband is, the wife
be misleading for someone like me. Now, my husband doesn't have to leave the house to make money. He has people working for him, and he on his phone like this. He's monitoring his business. But somebody visibly would think, somebody with the wife is going out, coming in, not knowing that the man is doing. But it can be misleading. You might read wrong.
Moreover, what
you
I
think
it is this way of saying it's making the woman apologetic about what she can carry. Before person reached there, he arrived, it took a walk, it took a lot. And the society over years, they will say to the woman, go and hide and give daddy to pay the rent. Go and hide and give daddy so the children see him. Well, how about both of you sit together and he too mans up and say, okay, both of us, we're doing this together. And every conversation, you continuously have it together, so that they see a common team front, like YK says. Nobody should be hiding ahead and be sorry for what they work hard to
Let me go on a quick break. Let me come back. We'll take a few phone calls and tweets and wrap up on this. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. All right, so the other part of this conversation, because a lot of women, as I said, are empowered and their decisions they would like to make for their children, for the family. And I've been very specific about children because it's where both parents can decide. Everybody can individually do what they want to do personally. But when it comes to kids, it's both parties. Both of them must discuss and agree. But because men in their natural role to be the leader and head of the home want to make certain decisions. But the women who are now empowered, I was sharing with you earlier in the year that I really wanted my kids to go on vacation this year. I mean, I had promised my kid last December, I said, if you do very well in school, I promise you we're going to go to Dubai. If I was doing Dubai, I promised them. Before they now shut us out of Dubai. I was not thinking of where else. So their passport expired. I went through all the work to renew their passports. I wanted to start looking for their visa and start working. And my husband just shut it down. And I said, listen, I can pay for it. He didn't allow me. You know, although he gave his own reasons eventually, which I understand. But as a woman who I feel that I had enough resources, it was difficult. It was a major strain for me to say, I have to accept that these kids are not going anywhere this summer. And he told me, put his foot down, they are not going anywhere. Even you, nowhere. We need to save our money. We need to research. You know, he had justifiable reasons. But as a woman, I just felt like, should I still be accepting, or should I still be subsumed under this authority? I should be, but I just felt like, how can't I just challenge this man and chance this man? Can't I just insist and carry my children and travel? You know, so that it was a major distress for me earlier. But I had to just accept, okay, they said no, we'll wait whenever. But people are going through that. And some people are not accepting that leadership. They're insisting that there's nothing you're going to do, my child, because some women have been advised that, listen, if you don't allow your child to travel, it might never happen. So you must put your foot down and carry your children and travel.
If a child is destined to travel, they will travel. Travel, they will.
Yeah.
That's the truth. But you let when it comes to that situation, let the head of the house be the head of the house. It's not about all the time about the means or resources that you have. Two people cannot be mad at the same time. And there cannot be two captains in a ship. You cannot say, because I have the means, I must object. I will fight him. Except you see that maybe you have an abusive person.
What if you feel right?
Yeah, a lot of times. Travel even sounds a bit.
Yeah,
but there are some important things.
Yes. So I was going to say that there are some things that are you know, there are some things that we can let go, and
Yeah.
there's some things that, like that, this is the core of us.
Yeah.
And I cannot, none of us will back down
Negotiate.
from this. We have to figure a way out. And that's when I will call all the family members on you. I've never, you know, to put them out because, you know, when you talk about travel, and because you actually mentioned this before, and you talked about the fact that he was looking at the resources down the line, everybody's saying, you know, tighten your belt, you just don't know what the economy is going to look like. So in this case, this is someone that's giving you a reason, a tangible reason. But there are people that will say, I just don't want you to do it. I just don't care for you. You know, you're not just going to do it.
Yeah.
And that is going to be a problem. So when we talk about marriages, you know, it's easy to discuss about those who have people that they can discuss with, people who have like minds, you know, you have like same values. And that's why also in the conversation when we're talking to people who are about to be in relationships, we say, be careful the sort of person that you get married to. Like, that person can make or marry you. Make sure that your values align, you know, so that if, in your case, if a suggestion like, because of the finances going forward, we're trying to put it, it has to be somebody that understands that that's an important conversation. Imagine if you have someone, you're married to someone that does not care about finances. We spend it. Let it finish. We'll find ourselves. Then you are not struggling with somebody that does not think about the future. So it's about your values, and if they align, and in your case, luckily for you, your values align. You understand the need to put money aside and save for the rainy day, and then travels will always come.
Let me take this call. Good morning, Tola. You're live.
Yeah, good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yes, my name is Tola, like I said. I'm a first caller.
Welcome to the show.
Okay. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Okay.
Okay, I'm having issues with that call. Okay, let's take comments on social media, please.
Because YK mentioned, if you feel right, you know, there's circumstances where I have felt right about it. I remember my children going for swimming classes. My dad was a fire safety, water safety expert, but none of us could swim because resources were lean at the time. And when I grew up, I said, never, it will not be the story for my kids. But I had married the husband and thought, why water? Why do you want to drink? I mean, leave them. I said, it's a skill. It's a necessity, a life-saving skill that somebody must have, and my kids will have it. And so we're having the argument back and forth, and I noticed that it was a bit not emphatic on the who is right or wrong. I registered my kids, and I did the drive. As long as I'm not in your face, troubling you for time, anything. I registered them, and when he saw them learning and how he felt this was the correct thing. Sometimes we approach it, it's the approach.
Trust me, there's some people that approach. I mean, let me take this call from Kunle. I'll come back to the approach issue. Kunle, thanks for calling. You're live. Hello, Kunle.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning from Ireland. You're live.
I just want to contribute. Yeah, I want to contribute very quickly to this. The day a man says, I'm the head of the house, that man has lost the headship. You know? So what is important is about discussing. Yeah, what is important is about discussing the issue. Yeah, once a man says, I'm the head of the house, that man has lost the headship. So what you need to do is, I'll give you a quick example. My daughter was to go to college in Ireland, and she wants to go to the hostel. My wife doesn't want her to go to hostel. And we have to discuss the issue and resolve the issue. So I told her, you don't have to say because other people's children are not going to the hostel, she can't go. You must have a valid reason, a reasonable reason to say she should not go to the hostel, or that she should go from home. It's not about finances now. It's about discussing the issue and getting the right perspective to why she should go, why she should not go. So eventually, I said she's going to the hostel. And it's my wife that is going to pay for it. It's not even me. So eventually what we agreed on was that let her try the hostel thing. If she gets a placement in the hostel, she will go. Then the daughter now wanted to go to a an hostel with that she can use the bathroom alone rather than share the bathroom with other people. And that becomes also an issue in the family. So, what I'm trying to say is that the way to resolve this is for the two parents to sit down and discuss the issue and agree on a pathway. When a man decides to say, this is the way I want to go, and you stamp your feet, you are demeaning your wife. And the wife will begin to think of a way to take a revenge. She might not want to do it consciously, no matter of how religious she may be. It is an inner thing, something that comes from your inner mind to want to involve.
Thank you very much, Kule.
Once you...
there are some times where you want to take a few comments. Let me let you take comments first.
Yes, this person says, my husband is the sole provider and he lords it. The children know, and he also uses every opportunity he gets to remind the children how hard he's working. Not that I ever undermine his effort. On the contrary, I always tell the children to thank him for our provisions. Some men feel more of a man by what they provide, and they have their egos bruised if the wife is contributing. I didn't choose to be a stay-home mom. This was what he wanted, and I regret succumbing to this status because he has no regard for me, my opinion on anything. He decides for the family. Wow.
This one is even
Moses Ade says, many in relationship want something that is generally, while women wanted the C-suite, which always racks up the bills. The issue of school fees comes to mind. Truth is truth. Most men that die young or have depression is connected to the stress that they receive from their wives, especially the ones that don't contribute and give a lot of, and they give a lot of wahala. So,
Jaffe Frederick says, so men would fight to the last any idea coming from their partner. Not necessarily that the idea is bad, but because it's coming from him, his or her partner. Approach is key, but the stubborn partners, flexibility is key as well. Thinking through positively. Because
this approach doesn't work for everybody. All this approach, all those approach they taught us in Dream Marriage Counseling story, it doesn't work for all men. There's some men that those find women in a good mood. When my husband is in a very good mood, you think that, okay, you want to start raising issues. Once I start like this, beggar, don't even try that nonsense with me. He told 360. And I'm like, they will tell you that when it's a good mood, just finish eating. Because it doesn't work for all men.
No, I don't believe in the approach of call him at night. When
Google rubbish, it doesn't work.
Let him sleep after he has eaten.
You know the one that they say pound the yam, they will divorce me.
Even after you pound yam, even after you pounded yam, some conversations will happen.
Story.
That's the worst.
That's the worst. That thing doesn't work. I don't know. Our mothers give us some silly. Let me take this call. Let me take this call.
Let
me take this call from Malagbado. Thanks for calling. You're live. Hello? I think Adeshino.
Hello. Good
morning. Go ahead, please.
Morning. Yeah. I am a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you. You're welcome. I really appreciate your conversation on the table concerning the couple issue. Yeah. The basic part is that if there is understanding, maturity within the both couples, I don't think there's anything bad on that conversation. Are you with me, madam? Because the fact is that if we all can see what is happening in today's world concerning our children, whereby their mother is to do show up to the children, even if the father is doing something and you are not showing it to the children, it's always fire back at the end of the day to the father. I have similar experience around me. Yeah, I have similar experience around me. So, and the father is the provider, fine. But there's sometimes that things doesn't go well for the father. And at that particular time, you always drop things on the table. If you are not showing it to the family, and when you have an issue with your business or with your work or wherever, and it's not the turn of your wife to be doing things on the table, you only have issue to fight with in future to come. So anything you are doing for the children, you must carry your wife along.
Oh.
So additional. So if things go bad for a man and a woman takes up the responsibility in the house, what is wrong in telling your kids that things are bad right now and your mom is helping out? That's a good example. So if you had a daughter, when things go bad for her husband, it will be normal to take it on without complaining. You should be the one saying, oh, your mom has my back in this situation. rather than see it as something of shame that she must first of all come and submit to you whatever resources she earned. Anybody, any human being is entitled to their earnings. And you must give them their flowers, be credit, whichever way you look at it. Let your kids have this dignity in themselves. Let no child, because of gender, won't be apologetic and hiding their heads as against the other. I didn't grow up in such a home, and I don't support it.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mary, I was just going to say, I think a lot of men need to be sure of who they are and be more comfortable with who they are. And not let any, whether she has more
external
money
forces,
than me, bring you down. Be confident. Be what you have been trained to do, or what you have been trained to be. A strong man, a powerful man. Whether you have money or
women
not.
like that.
Yes, you know,
women like a strong.
And that way, the peace would. There will be peace in Darfur.
Go ahead.
We admire a confident man, honestly. You know.
Yeah.
He doesn't really have anything, but he's so confident.
I'll just give you. Sorry, Mary, I just want to give you this small example. My daughter and her husband. My daughter's husband makes money. He's a writer. He's an author, and he makes money. Yes. He's a well-established author, and he makes quite a bit of money. My daughter is the one that she doesn't go to work, but she's working. Her office is there, so she has an office. Right. Her kids see that she's the one working. They see their father on the computer. Maybe sometimes he's playing game when he has written his book or he has submitted his book. One day, Temidire says, Mommy is working. Daddy is playing on the computer. Another man would have felt, hey, the man just,
he said what he saw.
He just continue playing with his computer.
Let me take a call. I'll come to you, Mary. I have to hold you again.
Confident man.
Tola from Warri. Thanks for calling. You're live.
Yeah, good morning.
Morning.
Yeah, my name is Tola. I called earlier, and I'm a first caller.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, I want to contribute to this topic. My contribution is this. The problem we are all having in this world today is a life of deceit. We deceive ourselves. We are not telling ourselves. A man who is earning 100,000 naira is telling his wife is earning 50,000 naira. On what ground? If you really marry your friend as a man, as a woman, you should be able to communicate in a way it's supposed to be. No man, no woman will tolerate lies. That's one of the major problems. You see, if you go to the Bible very well, the Bible made it clear, man is the head. But the fact remains that if you want to, your ego that you want to claim to be the head of the house, then take your responsibility. You want to.
Oh, Tola, so difficult to hear him.
Yes,
Mariam.
I was going to say that a lot of these issues that, we have in the home, especially about provision for men, is that even their counterparts, their male would say to them is because, his wife is treating him this way because he's not earning anything. Even if that's not the reason, even if you know that this man has so many terrible behaviors that's causing the breakdown of his marriage, God help that man now loses his job. They'll make the situation in that house about the fact that the man doesn't have a job and the woman is the one taking care of the bills. And that's why the marriage is breaking down. I think there was one actor who was ill for a while, and then the narrative came out that, it was because since he lost his job. And then when the woman spoke, she talked about cheating, all sorts of infidelity, not really caring for them or the children. And men also amongst themselves think that when you have money, you can get away with bad behavior. It's licensed to just do anything. So sometimes the insistence of saying, I provide, is so that when you're about to behave badly, you can say, I've paid for it. I've paid for it. I've paid for the house. I've paid for this. I've paid all the bills. So allow me be the, irresponsible person that I want to be. So
allow me to be the man.
Yes, allow me to be the man, which is an irresponsible man. But then there's a second conversation where really I want to understand is, who are we getting married to, or who are we staying married to? Are we staying married to our friends? I got this message that says that a woman built on the land that the man owned. The day that they had issues, he told her to remove the house from his land.
She's lost her house.
So in this situation, so I'm seeing that a lot of people are hearing this sort of news and they're thinking, okay, how do I protect myself in the future? So we're getting married with the divorce in front. We're getting married with issues in mind. So I'm getting married to a potential enemy. And so if I'm going to be living with a potential enemy, how do I...
It doesn't always show in the beginning.
So what do we...
So you're already inside. You're not discovering spendthrift, my sleep person. You're discovering certain things.
Yeah.
So you as you discover, you just go and divorce if it's not extreme, or you plan. So if, for instance, you have a man that has a land that he cannot build on, and you know you would get to that point, would you go ahead and build? And if you find yourself in that situation, just know that house will go with the land. Either they demolish it. I saw one like that where the man moved bulldozers and demolished the entire house. Yes, that I'm building up the land. Either you carry your house or I broke it.
Let me take this call from Jamiu. He's calling from Abuja. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, I'm a first-time caller. I've been trying to call all this while, but it's always been difficult. Yeah, my contribution goes in this way. I see things a different way from the way people see it. When you talk about a husband and a wife, the husband and the wife are two different people coming from two different institutions. Who is the father of the wife? Who is the mother of the wife? In what kind of a home were they brought up? The same thing is applicable to the man. In what kind of a home were they brought up? That thing that was sunk into their brain, did they realize that in their parents' house, their parents were never perfect? Did they actually pick the mistakes from their parents' home and say, okay, I'm going to make a correction on this? The same thing is applicable to the man also. Most times we parents, we mislead our children at home. I always tell my wife, do not allow my mistake or your mistake determine the way these children are going to live their life tomorrow. If you feel you had your way with your husband, what if your daughter does not have her way with her husband tomorrow and the husband sends her away? So do not let that thing you had learned from your previous experience with your parents, with your peers, your friends, your relatives that you've seen. Oh, the man is a wicked man. Every man is not good. I need to hide away some things from my arm. I need to let my children know I am providing this for them. The father also, for the fact that he has learned some other things from where some people, a lot of men have died though. If you go to Lagos and Benin City and so many big cities, Abuja, you see that you have a lot of landladies. The men suffer their life training the children, and when the children are grown up to take care of their parents, they will come and give their mother the lion's share, and they will just give their father token, because the mother will tell them that their father is going to go and smoke with the money. So if you have come from that kind of an orientation, you brought it into your home, please tell me how the children in that house is going to look like. You understand what I'm saying now?
Yes,
so, in me, I always tell people, what works for A does not work for B.
Exactly.
And what works for C might not be different from the situation of T.
Thank you very much, Jamiu. That's an interesting perspective.
Because children see. Jamiu is talking about, what children see, what children would think. So at the end of the day, kids whose mothers are available more and they spend more time might not see their dad paying bills. They might not see their dad transferring money. If the woman is not someone who gives the credit to the dad, saying, oh, this was made possible by your dad, as much as possible, re-emphasizing it so they understand it. The kids will grow up and think, oh, mommy did so much more for us because she's actually the one giving them the money. But they don't know where it's coming from. And
but for children to even have that mindset, that means there's a sort of division between
the team.
Yes,
yeah, of course.
And it doesn't matter for children that their parents are doing it.
So no classical case, as he said.
I have noticed, because the mothers are at home more with the kids, and maybe the fathers have to go out to work, it's the mother that the kids see provide. They don't see the father, and
that was back then, no? That was back then, not now.
No. And maybe now, mothers don't, I don't know, maybe mothers don't spend time with the kids like they used to. But I remember where kids would think it's the mother that did everything, and the mother would have to say, oh no.
Where children think nannies are the ones providing.
Oh, that's terrible. That's a different topic. Let me take this call from Sheyi. Sheyi is calling from Fagba.
Shopping and everything.
Yes.
Go ahead, please.
Thank you, my dear. Thank you. I always feel uncomfortable if I miss your program because I always enjoy it.
Thank you.
You see, the EU on ground, I solely support the last speaker. Are you listening to me?
Very clearly, sir.
I solely support the last speaker. It depends on where both husband and wife come from, their backgrounds. Say you understand. We should not even overflow the EU. It is the sole responsibility of the man to take care of the home. He pays the rent, he provides allowance for the house. But it is also for the woman, a considerate woman, a sympathetic woman will understand that, okay, I should assist my husband. If the allowance the husband has given is not enough, he will subsidize. So you understand. We should not even overflow the EU. Understanding really matters. And
okay, there's something that is still in my mind that I think we have not really addressed. And I feel that there's a part of a modern woman that she's still trying to grapple with the authority. How far can she go? How much can she accept? You know, let me give you an example. So I said that when my kids were born, my husband is he for whatever reason, all my children they have Yoruba names, but we use their English names. That's completely against everything I was raised by. My father was a core Yoruba man, and he believed in that essence. My husband had a different perspective, although he's a core Yoruba man too. But he had his own reasons why they had to have English names. I was not happy with it, but I had to succumb and accept it. And it's okay. This one I said with the trip, yes, he accepted that, okay, I accepted that, okay, they're not traveling, no problem. And I said, let me get a Yoruba teacher. I got a Yoruba teacher. I got a music teacher. I got a speech policy, 3 teachers for the summer holidays. At least they keep them busy. He says that no, he wanted him to go to a regular lesson, regular maths, English. And I'm thinking, they've been doing that all year. Allow them to do something else. Just like, no, my God just said no. Now, sometimes as a modern woman, you feel like, am I too accepting of this? Or, you know, when you hear some people say, I can never take that. You know, no, you can't try that. You know, and you're thinking to yourself, okay, not that you want to do like them, but you're just thinking, where can I find a middle ground where I still get what I want? Because not every woman has that charm of getting what they want in the, you know.
You have to go and look. Find other room matters.
Yeah, it doesn't work for every husband. It doesn't work for everybody. Why the other room matters doesn't work for everybody.
Does it? Is it nice couple partner you have, the other room?
She has to find a way now.
What I'm saying
to get her way. If it's not other room, then she has to find maybe it's Belém issue.
She get pregnant.
Get food.
Okay, you went to a man's house.
So the point. So I don't make myself the issue. The point is that women, a lot of modern women have that issue of how do I stay humble, have my way, and yet still be led by this, but that's the issue.
I'm not making you the issue. I'm saying you have to study your man. Any woman, you have to study your man. Find which way you can enter.
So me,
because if not, it will be confrontation all the time. Confrontation all the time will not make
work. It's not healthy. It's not even healthy for the.
So you have to find a way to enter from behind.
So if you are an alpha female,
one second, let me get from Mariam, then I'll come to you.
Let me take you out of this, because there's a situation that I know of where this couple, they didn't have a lot. They sort of grew up in a small town, both of them. And then, you know, they're growing through the ranks, their careers and everything. But it seems like one person is growing faster than the other. The wife seems to have blossomed. You know, she wants to be much more glamorous and things like that. She's taking in, so they were like small town Christian. Do you understand? You know the outlook, how it is different. But then you now find yourself, you're doing well, you're traveling the world, you're doing so much better than where you started from. Financially, you're both better. But mindset-wise, wife has grown bigger than husband. And it is an issue, actually. And so they find, what I see with this couple is that they are constantly finding where they have to meet. The man feels that every time the woman talks, it's like she's attacking his authority as the man. But she's just saying, see where we are, God has blessed us. We can do much more than we used to do. You know, where do we meet? And the only way I see is that the man has to also be willing, has to also be willing to compromise with the wife. So a woman cannot be the only person working on a marriage. It has to be both sides. They need to look at it like, see, I've come this, okay, how far can you go for me and how far will you go for me? They always have to find a middle ground.
Yeah.
It will change, it will shift from time to time, but that has
Let me take this call, because just to add to what you said, a lot of women went to all this, all these courses. They are constantly going for learning and getting better. But the husbands on the house are not learning. So the woman is getting developed. Her mind is expanding of all these classes and courses she's taking. And your husband is still Baba Suraju that you married many years ago. Let me take this call from Sheyi.
I've seen that.
Good morning, Sheyi. Thanks for calling.
Good morning.
You're live.
Good morning. Can you hear me, please?
Very clearly, Kemisola. Go ahead, please. Oh, it's Kemisola.
All right. My name is Kemisola.
Yes.
All right. I want to contribute to this matter. Sister Mo, the truth is I will share my little experience with you. So now, my husband, okay, let me start this way. My 2 years of my life now has been on hold due to the fact that I have to be on a compulsory bed rest. Okay. And before then, I earn more than my husband, and my husband knows that I earn more than him, and we both understand that level. But in this situation now, that we have a lot of bills to clear. Without him asking me, I have the mentality of knowing that either you ask me for it or not, I have to support you one or the other way. Because I still have one or two things I do from home. Because so the mentality of the background of where we all come from actually beds the kind of person you are. And this gives us a sense of responsibility. Either the man asks for it or not. So for me, I think as a woman, either would the woman demand from you or not, you should have a sense of responsibility of contributing to the home you both build, and you feel that, okay, there is a family coming out from it. That's my point. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Nima is going to say something. I don't want to write it down.
I was just going to, okay, for someone who's wired differently, maybe you're an alpha female, BC has those terms that she throws around. I am such a person. I had such a mentor. My auntie goes out and takes her decisions, and her husband just allows her. You know, and I came into marriage like that. I did not marry, I married my match. So I had to unlearn that and learn new methods. I learned our mother's methods. Please, sir, can we talk? You know, because when I come out and I'm talking, unless I'm authoritative, it might not work. So you come down again and say, okay, you see, this thing, I think it will be the best for the kids. If at the end of the day, after I've deployed all the method of wiles of women, and you have done all of that, you have cried, you have begged, you have served food, it did not work, it cannot work. Let it go. I cannot come and kill myself. I let it go. Sometimes time will now prove that, oh, that was a wrong decision. And then he doesn't want to face it. We have to have this conversation. You apologize to me because I saw this future and you did not see it. And now that we have seen it, you give me my apology and then we move forward. Because if you don't acknowledge that was a wrong move, how do you
absolutely my mother, the way my mother, because my father was a serious alpha male, and my mother was more of a submissive wife. But when she wanted to get her way, she would write everything she wants to tell my father. Then she will go and meet him, and she will start reading everything to him. Then he would do, okay. The money for the bicycles for the kids is clinical. Okay. I remember when we got our chopper bikes, she wrote all what she wanted from him, took it to him. Oh yeah, then she started reading it to him. Then he would be saying, okay. Once he had said okay, that thing will fly. When he bought the chopper bikes, he only wanted to buy one. But when she gave him the money, she told him it was 200 and something naira, which was for 3. He said, okay. That didn't cost him anything. He bought the bikes. Hey,
is it 3?
You didn't tell me. You think it's 3? You tell me it's 3 bikes. It's what I wanted to buy.
It's been bought.
One was 18 extra.
But you see, what?
So she unlocked what works.
Yes, she found what to get what she wanted.
Yes.
So what do we use for her? Because I hear all this unlocking for men too many times. Like, what do the men unlock for us? What are they not allowed to unlock as well?
We are easily accessible. I guess we are easily accessible.
Let me say what works.
But you know, the writing thing worked for me.
We need a man.
Yes, why we get man in it? But see, for me, I'll tell you what, I'll come to you. But for me, I found that writing works for me. Because when I write to him, because when I realize that talking, all that could hesitate down on nothing. My husband is a man's man, like a man's man. So when I write everything on WhatsApp message and I forward it to him, he takes his time to read. He can come and say all those things you are saying, but he will now understand my perspective because I express better writing. Then he sits me down and explains. I explain to him, and he now takes that thing one by one and explains to me why we can't have lesson teacher, because he wants, he now gives me the historic explanation. I might not agree, but because he has given me that moment to explain, I understand and I accept. So I find that writing has been helped me to get through.
So this is a man
they don't read my own now.
that does not care for the emotions.
And if you like cry, he will not listen.
Just give us the facts.
Yes.
I'll give you my facts.
That's brown for you.
Whoever has the stronger argument.
Yes, that's my husband for you.
What works for me, I know, because I say I unlocked my husband, but my husband has unlocked me as well. He's using the word please against my decision. He will come and say, babes, please now. I'll be like, over this thing. Why are you begging? And he'll come again. Even if I tell that argument again, please now, like, we are begging your access, you are begging your royalty. I beg, leave us, let us have our way. Because we sometimes talk about what we do, we don't see what our men do. And then there's something my husband does when I buy a gift for the kids, and I go like, just put something for my kids. Say, thank you very much. And he will say it in front of the kids. Mommy just spent money for you people. Let's all of us say thank you. And they will, Mommy, thank you. And it just breaks me. I'll be like, if it was me, I would not want you to talk about it.
Well, yeah, I think you're very right. Some men haven't found that thing that unlocks us.
Yeah.
Some men don't. Some men do, and some men don't. And I think it's important they also pay attention to what gets.
Get a man here and make him tell us what he has done to
unlock his own wife.
Because we cannot talk from their own, we cannot talk from our own
perspective. Yeah.
You know,
let's not assume all of them just love it.
Brown will be calling me all this funny. I mean, I must have like a million nicknames with Brown. Brown gives me, anytime he needs something, we just start hearing one and one.
Please tell me one. Tell us
one. Yana. Me Yana. Morasco, my Yana. He'll be shouting from the room. He's shouting. Okay, but boy, what does he want? He'll be screaming.
So he has found his joy.
But it's not like for me. It's not my mumu button.
What does he want? Because you know that you are going to succumb. Morasco, my Yana. He is going to answer.
I have saved it to YK's hands. Okay, don't use that one. It's a very private name for me and my husband. Please don't use it outside this conversation, and that's it. Let me take a few comments on social media and wrap up, please.
Oh my goodness. Okay. I can't laugh.
Says, these are men who feel less of a man because they are unable to provide for their family. Some men preferably choose a spouse they can control economically because they know she'd not think twice about living when he misbehaves. And that's disempowerment. It's very common.
Yeah. Any other stories there? Nothing else on social media?
Jaffe Frederick says some men would fight to the last any idea of their partners, not necessarily because the idea is bad. The approach is key. For some stubborn partners, flexibility is also key as well. I think maturity is what he's referring to. Trying to get this lady.
So Moses Ade is asking me to ask you his question. I'm looking for his question. Okay. Moses Ade, if you are watching, please say the question again so I can...
William Olajumoke says, finance is a major source of distraction in a home. I think my money should be our money, and his money should also be our money.
Heard that
to go a long way in solving many conflicts that come with finance issues in a home.
In fairness, so someone like my husband right now, everything he earns, he doesn't have his own money. Everything comes to the family. So that's who he is. That's the kind of person he is. And I think with that, he gives all the respect that I know that all the resources are coming to the house. So I like to be, honestly, that's my dream.
That's the thing.
And my husband will be so rich that I won't have to come to your view. Earlier. I'll be pampered. I'll have the chef. You know, the other day, I told you now, that I was dreaming of my world. I said, Brown, I just woke up this morning. I'm on a boat. I'm in Spain. We're traveling. He said, are you Elon Musk's wife? He's like, Auntie, are you Elon Musk's wife? I said, you are going to be Elon Musk because I love to be pampered. I want to be cared for. I want to be treated. I want to be, I love the soft life. But I want to just be cared. I want to be 90 and, and I'm just chilling and dancing and having a great time. This work every day, easy, honestly. I want to be pampered.
There was one housewife I met and she was very Muslim. I don't want to use any other word to describe her. So we, in our close space, all sisters, when she took off her veil, her skin looked like
Glass.
Everything just fine.
Glass.
She had hair piercing all the way. And she covered it with hijab. She had nice hair now on her body. I said, this is the life I want. She's very Nigerian. And she was
so all this 50-50 we are always screaming. Maybe we really don't want 50-50.
But Moraya, the truth is, I am not her. I wanted to have all that softness, but I don't want to ever wake up and not have my own means.
Okay, but you also know that there are some issues that is determined by your socioeconomic status, whether we like it or not. When you are poor, you are middle class, these are the kind of conversations you have. When you are terribly rich, I'm sure they don't have time. They don't even know what 50-50 is. They are not discussing this. So this is our own
our reality.
Our own reality. I'm sure Elon Musk and his wife or girlfriends are discussing 50-50.
I can't.
You want a jet? It's right there.
You know,
you want a yacht? It's right there.
Those rich people should have something like a program where if you want to live like a rich person, just come here to spend 1 week. Like Elon Musk should have a program where you just speak on like Mariah Falabi Brown. Just, you know what? I'm giving you my wealth for just 1 week. And I'm just there. I'm like, you know what? And he comes to my house in Magodo.
Some people may not want to. They won't do that because some people may not want to leave. Like Mariah, you may just decide to hold on to their post.
Give me the key to your vault, and that's it.
Miriam, is it the person or the means? Elon Musk can be rich and be a nasty.
I don't care about the person. It's the means. I'm going to
Don't touch my boat. I bought it.
Until you
don't touch my cup. I bought it. Those kind of men.
Now that's reality.
That's reality for some women.
When some people will tell you they're in there and then they want to come out and you're wondering, how are you surrounded by all this wealth and you want to leave?
I can't measure this couple. I met a couple. The man's worth monthly is over 2 million. But the wife dare not spend 20,000 naira of his money in peace. In peace. He would rather use that money to buy trouble and give to her. And that's how it is. I'm telling you, they fought over who bought dispenser because she took cold water and he cut the wires.
Imagine that.
And he said it boldly, because I tell her, don't drink cold water in this house. And she drank it. I bought it, so I cut the wires. Imagine pettiness. Sometimes, you know,
So is that your husband?
It's all that glitters.
Sadly,
really,
that's the reality of the woman.
But me, my own glitter will be very correct. My own glitter will be good. My husband is going to make $1 million. I mean, $10 million very soon.
Yes,
and when I do that, I'm going
to.
Anyways, why can any comments on social media? You see me saying $10 million. The guy that came here yesterday, $5 million, you know, yes. So I think $10 million is too small. I think $100 million.
Inflation and everything.
No, it's nothing anymore. It's $100 million we're looking for now.
Let me go to you.
Okay, we have to wrap up.
Ajay says if Mr. Brown made 10 hard decisions which Mariah was against, how many times was he right?
That's a very good question. Yeah. Out of 10 decisions my husband made, I would tell you easily that 9 were right. Like I'm not even thinking of it twice.
Like
my husband, more often than not, is always right. That's why I just hold myself, Ikuku might be right. Because even this, the lesson, I really didn't want them to have lessons this year, but I realized it helped them. You know, I would have loved them to learn Yoruba this summer. I would have loved them to learn public speaking because those are extracurricular activities I wanted. But he insisted that, no, let them do the regular lessons. Either way, I will still be teaching because Yoruba is my own responsibility, not really a lesson teacher. Because it's true that there's so much a lesson teacher can teach you in a few weeks. So it is my responsibility to teach my child language, not really lesson teacher that's going to go for 1 month. That's really not, so I'm who's fooling who here. So he said, Morel, you teach your child Yoruba, not lesson teacher. So no problem, but he's always right.
So the values are good. The values are there.
Yeah.
Values are there.
So, Moses Ade, your question has been answered.
Let me go on a break. Oh, the show has finished.
Yeah. Don't let you go on a break.
Okay,
I like the way you shut that down.
That is all we can take on today's show. Hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Have a great day. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.